Welcome to today's Explainer. We're diving straight into a bit of a medical mystery today, one that's hiding right in plain sight. We're going to explore how our most ordinary, everyday eating and drinking habits might be silently damaging a highly vulnerable organ, the esophagus. We'll look at the data, the anatomy, and the cutting-edge research to figure out exactly what goes wrong, and most importantly, how we can stop it. Get this staggering statistic. Men are 5 times more likely to get esophageal cancer than women. It's a striking trend we've actually seen among many famous male actors and musicians over the years. But why? Well, the answer isn't some inherent biological weakness. It's actually lifestyle. Historically, men engage in specific daily behaviors that put this organ at extreme risk. Here's our roadmap for today. 1. The vulnerable food tube. 2. Everyday hidden burn hazards. 3. The acid reflux threat. 4. Spotting the silent symptoms. And finally, 5. Effective detection and action. All right, let's jump into part 1, the vulnerable food tube. To get why this organ takes such a beating, we really have to look at the anatomy. The esophagus is essentially just a simple delivery tube. It's about 25 centimeters long, running right down your chest to connect your throat to your stomach. And down at the very bottom, there's a sphincter muscle acting like a one-way valve designed to stop stomach contents from splashing back up. But here's the crucial part. It has absolutely zero digestive or absorptive functions of its own. None. It is strictly a transporter. And because it completely lacks the heavy-duty protective mucus barriers that your stomach has, that simple lining is incredibly vulnerable to physical and chemical burns from whatever you're sending down it.
Which brings us perfectly to Section 2, Everyday Hidden Burn Hazards.
So what's actually acting like literal fire to this unprotected tube? Well, there are 4 main external culprits here. First up, high-proof alcohol, which causes severe chemical burns. Second, scalding hot drinks, which cause thermal burns. Third, extremely spicy foods. And fourth, tobacco smoke. Now, you might be thinking, doesn't smoking only hurt the lungs? Well, toxic substances from the smoke actually pool in your mouth, and swallowing that toxic saliva directly coats and burns the esophageal lining. Let's zoom in on temperature for a second. Consuming tea, mate, or really any drink above 70 degrees Celsius causes chronic thermal burns. Just to put that into perspective, that is cooler than boiling, but it is absolutely scalding to living tissue. This actually explains a totally fascinating medical phenomenon. Regions like Iran have surprisingly high rates of esophageal cancer, despite strict religious bans on alcohol. The data points directly to their cultural habit of drinking extremely hot tea, which is continuously damaging the tissue over time. Now, there's also a pretty wild genetic vulnerability when it comes to alcohol. If your face flushes red when you drink, your body genetically lacks the active enzyme needed to break down a toxic byproduct of alcohol called acetaldehyde. If you get this red face reaction, but you kind of force yourself to build up a tolerance and drink heavily anyway, your risk for esophageal cancer absolutely skyrockets compared to someone who doesn't flush. This is a massive, proactive health warning, especially for viewers of Japanese descent. The data shows that approximately 50% of the Japanese population falls right into this vulnerable red face category. So, if that's you, heavy drinking is uniquely dangerous to your esophagus. Moving on to Section 3, the acid reflux threats. So, we've talked about external hazards, but what about internal ones? Acid reflux, also known as GERD, triggers a really dangerous internal cycle. Step 1. Everyday lifestyle habits loosen that lower sphincter muscle we talked about earlier. Step 2. This lets highly acidic stomach fluids flow backward, right up the tube. And Step 3. That strong acid chronically burns the vulnerable, unprotected esophageal tissue day in and day out. So what's actually loosening that valve? Think about your daily routines for a second. You are actively increasing your risk for these internal acid burns if you overeat, if you carry excess weight which spikes stomach pressure, if you eat a high-fat meal right before going to bed, or if you smoke. Fat and tobacco directly cause that sphincter muscle to relax exactly when it should be tightly shut. All right, Section 4, spotting the silent symptoms. Because all of these burns are happening deep inside your chest, the warning signs can be super tricky. Early symptoms are dangerously easy to brush off. Maybe just a slight stinging in your throat when eating hot or sour foods, or just mild discomfort when swallowing. But as the cancer grows and physically narrows the tube, advanced symptoms take over. We're talking about food actually getting stuck, unexplained weight loss, chest or back pain, a persistent cough, or a hoarse voice. Which brings us to our final part, Section 5, Effective Detection and Action. If you're recognizing any of those symptoms, taking immediate and correct medical action is absolutely your best defense. But you gotta use the right tool. The traditional barium swallow test, it's okay for large blockages, but it often completely misses small or flat cancerous lesions. An endoscopy or a stomach camera is just vastly superior. Doctors use this special lighting to spot color changes in early flat cancers, plus they can biopsy suspicious tissue right there on the spot. And looking to the future, there is some absolutely incredible research happening right now. The Osaka International Cancer Institute is actually developing a way to predict esophageal cancer using just a simple mouth swab. Since the mucous membrane of your mouth is continuous with the esophagus, abnormalities up in the mouth can actually mirror early cancer deeper down. It's a total game changer. It might one day make screening literally as simple as swabbing your cheek. But until that swab hits the clinic, the major takeaway here is understanding referred symptoms. Listen to this. If you visit an ENT doctor for a hoarse voice or an orthopedist because your back hurts and they can't find a localized cause, you must proactively ask to check your digestive system next. Seriously, do not let these advanced symptoms go misdiagnosed. So, I want to leave you with this thought. Reflect on your daily habits today, from that scalding hot morning tea you drink to your weekend drinks and whether they give you a red flush. Are your daily comforts silently acting as literal fire to your anatomy? Don't wait around guessing. If you fit these risk profiles, take charge and request an endoscopy. Because when it comes to this vulnerable food tube, is a momentary comfort really worth a lifetime of risk?